Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 345, and today we're going to be doing battle with the Big Elusives. And so, Bard and the Elusives and Yuumi, it's not something that was really on my radar as we were hanging out up in the Master Space, but as we were leveling up our alternate account, running through Platinum, it was a strategy that we ran into kind of often, and it was very interesting to me in the sense that I've been kind of running in my brain piece something that would be good in this current meta. And elusives do check a lot of the boxes. And so one of the things I kind of think of is if you're out there battling a deck like Samira Fizz, their strength is just the lack of interactivity. We're playing a game where we just put units on the board, they attack around them with the elusives. What if we're able to throw elusives in front of their game plan? And then the very kind of similar thing in the space of the Karma set style decks is to where they aren't really trying to completely shut down your combat with the rando 3/3s and 3/4s that they play, but they're just kind of a roadblock along the way, a little bit of a speed bump, if you will, to slow you down just enough for them to make it till turn 10. And if those dum-dums are just hanging out and unable to block, then you have a way around your opponent's advantages in the game. And so I'm very interested in the elusives. You can't really play things like Ari Bard anymore, right? The loss of Homecoming really just nuked that deck into oblivion. You can't play the elusives deck from the previous season with kind of the loss of Zoe and the loss of Pokestick being a kind of a big deal in that space, but a lot of these elusive units do still hang around, and we have a lot of opportunity to go big here, a lot of ways to go super strong, a lot of ways to hit that highlight reel moment that everyone loves to see with a deck like this Yuumi Bard deck. And so it's got the real core of elusives in here. We've got just short of 12. We've got 11, and we're really just looking to stick basically 2. You like having access to one elusive on the board that you can attach a Yuumi to, that you can boost with Esmuth, that you can give a bit of stats to with things like the Celestial Blessing, where you're hitting a unit in play and a unit in hand. And then you're also looking to have a unit in hand, so where it can sit around, it can soak up these chimes as they come in. If you play a card like Celestial Blessing, then you can get the bonus to the unit on the board and in hand. And then later on in the game, we're going to try and kill our opponent with 2 elusives. And so that's the kind of general game plan. We aren't this kind of quick elusives deck of old, right? We're not dropping down Green Glade duos and attacking. We're not dropping down turn 1 Teemo into turn 2 Esmuth and then going in that way. There's no suit-ups to be found. This is more of a kind of mid-rangey style deck, if you will, as to where we're trying to get in 5 or 6 chip damage across the early portion of the game, and then on turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, we just blast our opponent for that remaining 16 damage. And so there is a bit of mind changing, mind melding, mind's desires. We're bringing magic cards into this now, but no, there's a little bit of thought process that needs to go into understanding we're not going to try and be ultra aggressive here, and we're trying to get that big 2 big unit blast that can hopefully take down the game. And so that's the deck. That's what we do in battle with today. Let's go ahead, jump on in, see if we can't have some good games with the big elusives here. Maybe attack for 18 with 1 unit. Who knows? You never know, man. I don't make up the rules. So let's see what we can do it. All right, Udir Galio coming in. So let's see. I want to for the big thing, I want to be starting with Birds and Esmuth. We don't have any of those here. Let's get rid of some of these slower cards, but hang on to the Shade Stalker, so we at least have an early-ish play if we need to. And there's the big one. Esmuth made the way in. All right, Vulpine Wanderer, we're going to ignore you. We aren't playing your games today, my friend. We're bringing the elusives out here. All right, so let's get this Shade Stalker going. I don't think I want to just run this Yuumi out. He probably can't do anything about it, but I do want to maximize the amount of stats that we're getting here. So let's give ourselves a heal. Now we've got a Nightfall. Drawing all these Yuumis isn't super ideal, but we'll make the best of it. Now we're ready to come in for a big attack. Not losing out on those stats. I will want to say kind of push over now. I will want to put the units onto Esmith if we can. I start to worry about our units dying to single combat or cataclysm or something, but as it stands, the Shade Stalker's getting the job done for the moment. Alright, damage is in. Bring on that Yuumi. Alright, things are going well. Got to get a nice attack in this next turn. 2 turns from now, we should be able to just stun his 2 biggest plays. Don't have to worry about that. And then we're cycling around to get a kill on turn 7. It's good to me. Getting the cats in the battle. That's what it's all about out here. Getting the important job done. Oh shit, are we gonna lose our Mahari? I guess it's okay. He doesn't have the stance. He put the one on the broad. I played the Mahari and then I was like, oh crap, he's got that Ram stance in hand, but not quite the case.
Have you come to aid your old friend, young fox?
Yes, old man. We heard your call.
Alright, Udyr, welcome to the stun zone. We could look to actually make some blocks here, but I think I'm okay to just leave all of our friends in the back line. Not at any real risk of dying on this turn. Alright, everybody gets the bonus stats. If we have a spell shield, or if we come up with a spell shield, we'll want to use it. You're going to want to use that spell shield preemptively if we do find it. We don't want to, say, attack with everybody. We're going to have a little bit short on the damage with, say, like Esmith. And so if you preemptively play the spell shields, then the opponent can't pop your units with things like Harsh Winds. So I think we're going to be trying to open attack next turn. Let's just go ahead and drop the Prowling Projectile. I want to put the bonus stats onto Mahari. We'll deal a damage to something. It doesn't matter what it is. Udyr, you are the acceptor of the damage. Now, as we roll into this next turn, Mahari will become a 4 attack at end of turn. If we boost it with Esmith next turn, it's going to have that 5 attack it needs for the Elusive Lifesteal. Opponent says, no thank you. You are too fun. You are too interactive, bust. GG. Ooh, good stuff. Victory unlocked. Victory achieved. We'll have to see if we can't outperform the Aurelian Soul from the previous video. I sure hope we can. Aurelian Soul's gotten 2 videos this patch, and it hasn't even gotten that final skin unlocked from the event pass. All right, but again, we'll take the full mulligan here. Not really looking to start with Yuumi. We want to find Esmith. We want to find Bird, or just something. Any unit that we can drop in the early game would be ideal, but nobody turned up. Sad day. We can still kind of get out ahead of this if we pick up the Shade Stalker, really get it going on turn 3. There's nothing wrong with playing Guiding Touch for the cycle and then playing the Shade Stalker as elusive like we did in that last game. Alright, so a bit of a worry. Again, I don't know what the deal is with this space in Platinum and Diamond to where people are out here playing so much Evelyn Viego. I haven't seen Evelyn Viego in Masters the entirety of the season, but it's down here in full force. See if we can't get out in front of it. I have to worry about it a little bit, given that this is a deck that tends to play stuff like Vengeance, right? That's not super ideal, but we can maybe get out in front of that. I wish we had a spell shield. It's going to be a... it's gonna be a thing we say on repeat here for the majority of the video. Just give me that one spell shield. Alright, Elusive's coming through. Enjoy it, my friend. Very fun and interactive. Oh my gosh, we got 4 bards in hand. Look out. Look out. So now Steam comes in. The units he's put on board aren't enough to stop the Winged Messenger, and his attacks here are just complete garbage. But do we want to go ahead and put the Yuumi down? I think we do. Like, I had these visions of just playing Bard this turn, but it doesn't strike me as being very good. Now we can get the Winged Messenger down. It's big enough to survive all this garbage, even if he's got a Hate Spike. And then we can heal through a portion of the damage with the Guiding Touch if we need to. It's actually pretty tempting to just Prowling Projectile away this Husk.
There's power in water.
I don't want to play it and then have him Hate Spike us. So let's take this a little bit slower here. Interesting. A Black Spear. How much is this? 5 damage in total? Alright. Give me some of that heal. Just a little bit, please. Yeah, sad face. Sad poro, sad bro. It's been a sad day for you, my friend. So, alright, let's go ahead and take this open attack. Our messenger is still susceptible to Hate Spike. And so if he's going to come in with the Hate Spike, I want to have the removal spell for it. That's what we ended up getting here. And then I was going to say, if he plays a unit after the fact, if he gets a big boy down a little bit later, then we can we can follow up with Nahari after he's spent his mana. But exactly what we're looking for here, getting the protect with the Prowling Projectile, Winged Messenger really doing the work. Might as well play our unit, right? We don't have a lot going on in our hand. Come on, we got a cat that wants to hang out. We're playing with Yuumi. You should definitely hang out today. Oh, here we go. That's what the people are here for. Say, what up, Pepper? You haven't hung out in the videos for a while. It's only appropriate now that now that Yuumi is here. All right, does he ever attack? Let's just go ahead and throw this Mahari down. It's not like he can Vile Feast it, right? And then at least this way, if he's got a Hate Spike or something to shoot down the Shadestalker, we still have the Mahari on board. Oh shit, our dude was... I thought the Vulnerable went away. Whoops. Little whoopsies. We definitely should have Star Shapinged our unit there. That was a bit of a bummer. Now we're just gonna fall super far behind. A little bit of a whoopsies. This game would have been donezo if we left our Star Shaping down. I thought the Vulnerable was just for the turn, so... Oops. And we're 1 short of a Bard flip this round.
Just leave. They all leave. I'm so alone. We're off on a new adventure.
I think we're still okay, but would have been a lot cooler if we could have got that flipped Bard on the board. Alright, I think we're in good shape. What's he gonna do? Play Viego? Play Invasive Hydrovine? None of that stuff matters with our board, and so I think we're good. Old Viego, Vigio, if you will, coming on board. He's not gonna get leveled up. These encroaching mists are just way too small at this point. We got a 3/6 Bard or a 3/6 Bard. Let's go for the 3/6. Get him on board, just as we do have a bit of cycle in hand if we're gonna pick up a card draw next turn. Potentially get those chimes landing on our units on board.
I know what I am.
And we don't have to worry about stuff like Atrocity anymore, so pretty much just ignore this attack. Fall to 6. Okay. Expanses protection, a little bit of card draw. Good stuff right there. See if he's got any crazy ideas for us. I think we're going to be good, fam. Here comes the squad. GG. A little bit of whoopsies in there. Not enough to stop us from winning. Good game, my friend. Fun, comma, interactive. GG. Oh my gosh, this cat. You want to come back? You want to come back? Come on. Playing with Yuumi. Definitely needs to be more cats in the Legends of Runeterra. It's been a mistake. Somebody's really dropped the ball. It's like nobody at Riot's been on the internet since 2002, and they didn't realize how delightful the cats are. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing what they've done. Alright, what do we got here? We checked out our hand. There's no birds. There's no Esmuth. You gotta get to digging. A little bit worried about the Lurk matchup here. They got a lot of high-powered stuff coming at us. They can... it's like our game plans don't really interact with each other, and theirs is just faster than ours, and so we can struggle a little bit against them. Can't even get the Shadestalker down this turn. I mean, I guess we could get it down this turn, but it's not going to have enough stats to be relevant. Oh man, I was like, is he really gonna drop the Riptide Swarm on us? I hate this deck so much. It's not that it's one of these things where it's not so powerful. It's just you're playing against the lottery here, and they'll play these cards blindly, and they just need to hit to win, and they haven't done any predicts. It's an all around fairly frustrating situation for me. But let's see if we can't get through this. So on this board, I think we're pretty stuck this turn. We're not going to play our Celestial Blessings just yet. We want to save them once he's up to like Lurk 6 and Lurk 7. I'm going to play a, where are you at? Purifying Flames. We're going to hit the Shadestalker. The question is, do we want to give it +2/+2 or +3/+3? And I think the 2/2 was enough. I think our path to success here is going to be with Mahari. And so I'm going to put 2/2 on the Shadestalker, 3/3 on the Mahari. Add the Shadestalker so it can block this turn. Now see if we can't get something magical going. He leaves his Lurks back and only attacks with the one unit. Okay, changed his mind pretty quick on that one. Alright, we'll block the biggest one. Move on. Was he going to play cards on us? We got incoming Pike. This is one of the things I'd love to see in the game. As you see Pike coming in, you can't see how much damage it's actually going to do. And so you can like look at the Lurk unit and say, okay, that's +2. Like Lurk or Pike is a base, I don't know, 1? Is he really a 1 attack on the front? So we only have to worry about 3 damage here. So we'll play the Guiding Touch. I really just wish that would say how much damage was coming in. Right, this is, I do love the Oracle's Eye. I think this is one of the best features in the game, but that's my hope for Oracle's Eye version 2, is that you're able to see how much damage is actually happening. So is this turn actually worth going big on? I mean, probably not. Let's just take the Celestial Wonder in here. We can save the Moonlit Affliction for a later turn. And I want to get the Mahari going if we can. So close to popping off. It's like it doesn't seem super safe on this turn. I almost want to wait until next turn to do it. You got to worry about Bone Skewers as a possibility here. We might have used our removals backwards. Alright, I think this is good. Nice draw with the Winged Messenger. Ideally, we'll get our unit going next round. And so, 1 to the Messenger, 1 to the Mahari. Now we're good to attack. guess we are pretty close to just outright winning the game. let's not miss the forest for all the trees here. If we just survive this turn and get around to the next turn, we'll have enough elusives on board to get a takedown. All right, so he's got a multitude of dudes. Let's just risk it at this point. I mean, none of his units are big enough to kill the Mahari. I don't think we have to worry about a Bone Skewer. Let's go ahead and drop it on board and see how opponent reacts. Interesting. Yeah, Mahari doesn't have vulnerable. Won't. Alright, there's the big lurk. The Rek'Sai action coming in. And let's see, it's 10 on board if we don't get Mahari involved. Right, so say we want to Cosmic Blessing, stun, pike, do 2 damage to a unit. That only takes us to 1. Because we have to ask ourselves the question, are we going to lose this game next turn if this doesn't go right? But, I mean, the other thing we can look to do is Moonlit Affliction. So we can say block the Hatchling, Moonlit Affliction it to 1/1. So we'll gain 5 and prevent 4. I think that's the angle we want to take. That leaves us at 3 health. A little bit safer. Alright, and if we get to untap, we're in pretty good shape here. Mahari will go up to 6 this turn. We can Bastion it up to 7 next turn. Go for the W. Fuck. Fuck. Thought we were going to get that one. That was like the one spell that could stop us. Alright, GG. Tough match, though. It's nice to have a little bit of game against it, but it's certainly not a good matchup by any means. At least we didn't have to run into the dumb stuff there. But let's see if we get it together. I've been wanting to make a video about Karma Set. Not a gameplay video, but a game design style video. I think Karma Set's actually quite interesting in the sense that it's very similar to a deck like Eggs from Magic. And that, if you're not familiar with it, Eggs was a really odd combo deck to where... handle this. Let's just keep all the elusives we can. To where you would get into this cycle to where you put a bunch of artifacts on the board. They all cost 1 mana. They were eggs, if you will. You would sacrifice them all off for mana gain abilities, and then you would play another card that would take all of the cards from your graveyard and put them back onto the board. And so you would get into these cycles that would generate more and more and more mana, and then you would eventually get into a cycle to where one of the cards you were sacrificing dealt damage, and then you would just cycle the damage went over and over and over again. And it was a deck to where it wasn't, mind-blowingly strong. It wasn't the best deck in the meta by any means, but Stanislav Sisko won a Pro Tour with it. And the thing with it is it would do what I called, holding you hostage, in the sense that the deck could fail. And so they can sit there and combo for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then the deck never actually generates a win. So you can't just concede. And then if you have a way that you want to react, you have to sit there and your opponent plays a thing and you say, okay. Your opponent plays a thing and you say, okay. Your opponent plays a thing and you say, okay. And you just sit there forever and ever and ever, waiting for that one opportunity to play the card, and then you may just have to be bluffing it, right? In the sense that you need your opponent to kind of mess up their combo, but you have to sit there. It's just like gets into these really boring games to where nothing really interesting is happening for either for the non-active player, the person getting comboed on. And I think that's kind of a similar space that we see with Karma Set, in that it's not a particularly strong deck. It's not the best deck in the meta. It's a good one, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of a frustrating deck to play against. And I've been wanting to make a little video and talk about it. We'll see if we can't get that together later on today, but it's interesting. But back to the action here. Opponent puts forth a blocking Badger Bear. One way to come in and interact with all the Elusives, but thankfully our Elusives are monstrous, and so we should be able to pretty safely attack here. If he doesn't spend any mana, then we can probably just attack with Winged Messenger. If he does spend a bunch of mana, then we could potentially attack with both. With the Garen, that makes it a little awkward. Let's just send in the Messenger, see if he wants to throw away the Badger Bear. And we'll keep the Esmuth home and safe. This just isn't a good attack to hit with Esmuth and then have it get blocked by the Badger Bear and either unit die. Alright, let's get some more of these Elusives happening. Trying to do his Garen thing out here, but everybody's too big for him. Oh shit, take it back. Take it back. Everyone is not too big for Garen. Let's come in. I changed my mind. I was going to play the Shadestalker, but I don't think we need it. We have all these, well, it's like I wanted to get the elusive bonus for next turn. What are we at? Like 8 from the Messenger. 8 plus 6. What's that? 14? 19? If we hang on to the Shadestalker, we should be at a lethal next turn. So let's just hang on to it, see if we can't hit some more chimes. We're definitely not going to die to this attack. Get out there, bird. Do your work. And let's see if we can't get the full 20 in the Elusives on this attack. I'm not entirely certain the protection suite that this deck plays, if it's going to have harsh winds or things like that, but... Oh, snap. That was some stats. That was some stats. There's another one. Oh, did we really fuck that? Oh, no. No. I got so excited about all the sweet stats that we were going to get, and then I overspent our mana. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, no. Poor Shadestalker just hanging out at home. That's a bummer. Alright, well... Let's see if we can't recover here. He should still be pretty far away from lethal. He needs, like, even a Galio is not going to do it. He's not flipped, and so... Let's see if we can... No! What a disaster. That's what you get. I guess he would have had the blocker this turn to stop the lethal, but that's not a good reason, right? There should be a dead Badger Bear, and we should have the lethal on our next attack. Oh, no. Sometimes dims to breaks. Alright, he's gonna give us a shot. He's gonna give us a chance to get the big Shadestalker on board. Make sure we got the tools we need here. So we'll do a little bit of heal. We'll go for the Immortal Fire out of this. We're never going to be able to cast Cosmic Rays. Now we can get the big Shadestalker down. Say, LOL, Garen, I'm ready to block. I would say learn from my mistakes, but who out there can really count, right? Who can really do the basic mathematics to determine if you're gonna have the mana to play your units? It's tough, man. It's tough. I can barely get by out here. All right, so what you thinking there, Baltasar? You bring in the squad? He is. Well, let's try and get rid of this Garen. I think I want to keep one bird back just in case things go wrong. Well, actually, I mean, well, let's do this, right? So we're going to take 9, try and kill off the Badger Bear. Round start, he's going to get a rally, but we'll have the Immortal Fire, we'll have the Shadestalker, and then ideally, now that the Badger Bear has attacked and been removed, we'll be free to kill with our Elusives. It's only got 1 card in hand, and so hopefully it's not too brutal. It's just going to be the harsh winds we were asking about. Nice. All right, there's the rally for opponent. Bring in the Immortal Fire. If he wants to attack, we can block his bigs, and he only punches in for 2 damage. We might be looking good here.
Must we fight?
What? Can we still get out of this game if this turn goes wrong? Like, we can't put the Immortal Fire in front of Garen. Like, if we do this, we're only going to take 3. And then if he does have the harsh winds, we still have blockers for next turn. I think I'm on board with that. Might find ourselves just playing Yuumi as a unit here. So we don't actually need the Yuumi, right? It's like if he's gonna have a strike, he's gonna kill our Shadestalker anyways. And then if he does have a strike, there's just no getting out of it this turn for us. Oof. Oof. Nice salvage, team. Nice salvage. Sometimes you get your big boy on board. Sometimes you don't. Good stuff. All right, all right. Whew. I know you all would never do that. You always count before you play your cards, and you always have the correct amount of mana before you do anything. But I'm glad I can be here so you can see what happens when things go wrong. God, this dumb deck again? Why couldn't you just rotate this stupid thing? I guess somebody likes playing it. So let's see how it goes. I don't think we really want to play play Bird on the first turn. I was kind of thinking that's tough in the sense that we want to make sure that we have a Nightfall for our Shadestalker. And then if we play Bird, we can't get the Shadestalker going on turn 3. It's going to depend on if he adds a unit to the board here. Maybe it doesn't. Let's just pass, and we'll play Esmith on 2, and then the Bird Shadestalker on 3. Well, looks like he's going to be going in blind, right? So we may have a chance to just block. Well, not now. Not now. I wasn't anticipating another 1-drop coming in, but if he missed, we can prevent a point of damage with the Esmith. Nope. And Rek'Sai, awesome. Okay. Is that spell gonna land? Hits the Shadestalker. Good deal. So Bird comes in. We'll follow up with the Shadestalker here. I'm curious if we're gonna see the dumb card, the Snaptide Jaw, the Snapjaw Swarm come in. Thinking real hard on this, so it's probably not a Rek'Sai.
Invisible to the ignorant.
And a Hammer Snout. Sure. Alright. Comes the Shadestalker. This is interesting. I mean, this is a turn where we probably want to protect our Esmuth with a stun. If we get to save it, well, I guess it's just like 1 point of damage for the next turn. That's not that big of a deal, but having it for a following turn to prevent a bigger attack out of these Sharklings, that's where the real magic starts to happen. Probably not worth it. Alright, he's spent his last card. Kind of lurk we got happening here. Rek'Sai. Oh, that was pretty good. Give you that.
Hide no longer.
Pretty good. Like, I'd prefer to save the Celestial Wonder for next turn so we can stop the Rek'Sai from attacking, but I mean, I guess double Guiding Touch keeps us alive. Falling to 1. Maybe. If he doesn't have a full board, then we can still survive on the next turn. How big are you, friend? Just a 1/1? Ah, lame. Lame. Alright, sure. Alright, that was fun. On to the next one. If we're going to talk about the design of things and the reasons I don't like Lurk, it's not so much, again, it's not so much another deck that's particularly good. It's one of the weaker aggro decks in the format. If it even has an overall 50% win rate, it's barely there. But to me, the issues you run into with it are you find yourselves in a lot of these games to where you have to just play a Snapjaw Swarm with no predict. And I think if we want to hang on to this Celestial Blessing, I think we do. So it's like you'll just have to play it, and if you hit your predict, like if you hit your coin flip, then you win the game. And if you miss your coin flip, you lose the game. And it's just like, this is fucking dumb. Like if I wanted to play a game of coin flips, I could just run down to the casino and see if any of the other degenerates want to come out and gamble. But it's a bit of a dumber to have to be forced into playing that here, and that's what you find yourself in a lot of games, and it is supremely frustrating to have to go against that. I don't see how the other people actually have fun playing it. I just assume that if you're the kind of person that likes to play scratch-off lottery tickets, if that's how you spend a lot of your free time is buying scratchers, then you probably have a pretty good appreciation of the deep deck. Or not deep, the lurk deck. All right, so how are we doing this here? If we want, I guess on this turn, if we play the Winged Messenger, we're not losing out on any stats, right? We attack with Esmuth, get the +1/+1, but next turn we start to be losing out on stats, and so I think we want to go ahead and just drop Yuumi, so we can continue to get those stats all along the way. Help level up this this Spell Shield ability while we're at it. Maybe on turn 7 we'll be Spell Shielded and coming in for the big victory. There's that card. There's that card. It's Still getting our stats, though. It's kind of nice. Don't even really need to play Winged Messenger this turn. I'm looking to just play the Celestial Blessing. Give the Winged Messenger a boost. It's going to depend on what opponent does here, but I don't think we're going to need the unit. It's kind of like the previous game as to where we weren't really doing any blocking with Bird. Bird is virtual card advantaging off the Cythria, right? She's not coming out and attacking. And then, you know, if Garen comes down as a 10-10, Garen with the Bone Club, and the Bird gets to go and stand in front of him, it's prevented like 14 damage across the game. It's a pretty big deal. Now that he's dropping double Bird, I feel like we kind of have to drop the Messenger, and then hopefully we'll draw a unit next turn for the Chimes to land on. It's kind of tough for our deck to do. We don't have a ton of units in here, but that's the idea at least. Hooks on the Elusives, dealing 7. Sounds fair. And a Yuumi. Bit unfortunate. And so we might find ourselves on this turn having to play 2 combat tricks, right? If he has a +2/+2 for his Badger Bear, we can at least get out of this with the Bastion and then another trick. Ideally, it doesn't come down to that, but we're safe if that's the case. There he is. Would we rather just stun? Like I was envisioning using the stun more defensively. Well, if he's got multiple cards, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to do some assessing. Right. So we definitely want a Bastion. We could have just played the Celestial Blessing onto the Winged Messenger. That might have been the way to do it. Right, since he's going to single combat the unit, the units are just going to die anyways, but we get in more damage this way. Get that 6 hit from the Winged Messenger when it's unblocked.
If I didn't forge it, you won't want it.
We're off on a new adventure.
All right, try again. I don't think he's going to be able to lethal us this turn, and so we can get the Elusives down. We have a stun for this Badger Bear, so we can present the death mode next turn, you know. Two to an enemy, stun an enemy. See if he's got another single combat for us.
For king and country.
Whatever the cost.
Does not. GG. All right, on to the next one. So much damage prevention from Bird, man. Just putting that one unit down. That's what we call virtual card advantage, if you're not familiar with the term. Like, people in Magic kind of figured out what the various forms of card advantage were in, like, the late 90s. I'm not certain how much of that knowledge has actually been passed down, or if it's just something that's common knowledge that people just kind of understand in the land of gaming today. But that's a beautiful example of what we call virtual card advantage. The common kind of idea with it is you say your opponent has 2/2/2s on the board, and then we play a 3/3. Now your opponent's 2/2/2s technically aren't doing anything. They can attack into our 3/3, but they're going to die. We can attack into them. They can block, and they're going to lose a card, and we're not. And so we've kind of stated that we just removed 2 of his cards with 1 of our card. We didn't actually remove it, right? The card is still there and active, but that's why we call it virtual card advantage, in the sense that they've kind of technically been removed, even though we didn't fully remove it. And so that's what you kind of see in the sense in those games there with with Bird, and that he's not actually trading anything, but he's keeping the Cytherea back on the back line since he doesn't want to trade with it, and preventing a lot of extra damage throughout the course of the game. So here, let's go ahead and get this elusive Shadestalker down. I think we're going to have to take it just a little bit slow.
Unseen.
Probably find ourselves playing Bard next turn. Maybe not. I mean, we can load up the Shadestalker with Yuumi next turn if we want. Is he going to single combat this? Nope.
For truth.
Alright, here it comes. This is fell a little awkwardly. I think it's like if we want our messenger to be able to attack, it needs Yuumi on it, but we can't play Yuumi this turn, and so I think we're gonna find ourselves stuck just adding Bard to the board, and then playing both of these. Ooh, that costs too much mana. I'm glad we did another mathematics exercise to figure out that we couldn't spend 6 mana of units next turn. Tough, man. The mathematics can be tough. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Where'd we end up this time, book?
All right, and I think at this point, I mean, we're probably gonna have to start. Like, we can't just play Star Shaping. We need to play a card this turn. I don't want to go into the next turn overbanking 2. And, like, Prowling Projectile is just not enough on this board. And so maybe we go for the Bastion instead. I think he's going to have trouble actually killing us next turn. As it stands, he can only deal 6. So if we want to, say, put Bastion onto
Whatever the cost.
the Messenger, give it a little bit of protection. And then if we need to next turn, we can Star Shaping if he opens, or we can play Bard just to block something if not. Okay.
Sister.
Gonna struggle to get up to 12. I feel like we could probably survive this next attack, but it's going to be getting up to 12 damage on our next attack token to get the victory. We're going to have 8 off of the Messenger, but we got to find more damage somewhere else with this limited mana that we have.
Spirits of the land,
And
hear
Udyr.
my
So
call.
he's got us. Well, let's see. So this is like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. We can't block through that. It's just we're kind of hosed here in the sense that let's just pass and see what he does. I say we're kind of hosed in the sense that if he puts the stance on a middle unit, then we can't get around this. And so we're kind of hoping he just messes up here and puts the stance on somebody that doesn't matter. And then we can follow up with Bard, only take 9 damage from these middle units, and then have a path to victory next turn. So we need him to, do something dumb to try and get ourselves out of this one. As we just pass here, it looks like we potentially have a spell. We could have one of the various stuns or something to stop a big amount of his damage. Excellent.
Hear me!
So there's that one. We're gonna add in Bard. Oh, you know what? Well, I guess he can't burst. He can't kill us this turn right away with the Udyr stance. But he does have the potential to play the Ram stance to do the 1 damage AoE. Whew. But we did part 1. Ooh, I wonder if we should have played that Bard flip card. to draw a unit. We got a pretty high value, high percentage chance to draw an elusive. Do we have enough mana for all of this? We have to have 5 for star shaping. We're 1 short. All right, let's just go for it then. Don't do it. Don't play your card. Don't know what it does. Oh, and the Badger Bear? Ah, come on. Come on. All right, well, maybe he'll let us go to next turn. if we're just going to keep getting away with stuff, why not? Why not? People forget about that stance, man. We play way too much Udyr. We know all about the stances and what they can do. Curious if we're going to see this thing come in as the 1 damage AoE just to take the victory. Love playing this thing against, say, like Gwen and getting the takedown on like 4 hallowed units all in the same turn. Kill off all their Quinn birds. Kill off all their little 2/1 hallowed things. But opponent was too wise for us today. They said, I see right through you, bust. I'm gonna best your plans. I'm gonna make the most of it. But that is a valid strategy, you know. You gotta come out and, you know, sometimes if you recognize that you're in a spot to where you can't win the game, you gotta kind of devise these ideas to where maybe your opponent will just fuck up, and if they mess up, then you can still achieve a victory. All right, though, game number 8, the final battle is here, up against another Garen-based deck. There's been a lot of Demacia out here today. We had a lot of that Galio deck that people love to see. Looks like a lot of elites coming at us still. Now, my thing with elites, I've gone on this tear. I've gone on this rant multiple times. But why are you only playing one faction? Stop and tell me. Stop and tell me the reason you're playing one faction. And the old answer would have been because of Vanguard Bannerman, right? The allegiance unit that gives your team +1/+1. Now that Vanguard Bannerman is no longer here, why are you only playing one faction? Why aren't you adding something into the mix like a counter spell or anything, Kale, whatever? I don't know, man. I don't know what these people are thinking. I wanted to get the block in here because I want to play Bard next turn, and then he would have been a good attack, but it's too easy for there to be a form-up. Okay.
Whatever the cost.
All right, well, we got a bit of time here. We can put the Purifying Flames onto the Mahara, and hopefully get some magic happening there. Where you at, Purifying Flames? 3/3/2/2. Pass the turn.
The finest Demosian steel.
Getting scary out here, but if he taps out for Garen, then we got the opportunity. Ooh, those birds are fucking huge. Those birds are huge. Well, it's got to be Bard. See if these big life stealers can't save the day for us. We need something good, fam. We need a lot of help. And the big bummer for the turn is that we didn't kill that other bird off, and so the space we're going to run into trouble next turn is he can hook our lifesteal unit way out to the right, and we won't get to do the life stealing in the middle of combat. Oh no, has he got the other single combat? Visit. Oh my gosh, and he even uses... Okay. Alright. You can leave on a sad note as we visit www.haveitall.com. But It was close. We were right on the cusp of recovering there. I feel like even since we drew the Celestial Wonder, we were going to end up in a spot to where we could have prevented enough damage with the block and the double stun, and then the Mahari gaining us enough health to get through the turn, and then just be living at 20 forever. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Good set of games nonetheless. GG's all around. We could pull this deck up and talk about it a little bit more. And so it's in kind of an interesting space, right? I was really hoping that we would get to play against some more of the top contenders of the format. And this is like one of these spaces where it's tough for me to really decide on and how things should be able to go within the channel. Is I'm not really like making content for the top level competitive players. You can find that kind of stuff elsewhere. I like to think that we're in the space of getting you the strategies of helping you move from, say, platinum to diamond, and just rank up at the more intermediate levels of the game, if you will. And it's kind of tough to balance between what you see here, right? Because these decks that we played against today, you'll occasionally see elites in the Masters ladder, but I've never seen Evelyn. You don't see Galio, the Galio ramp deck. You'll occasionally see elites, and then you don't see too much of Lurk either. And so it's just like kind of a different beast being in the Masters queue and being in the Diamond queue in terms of what the decks look like. And it's kind of tough for me to decide what would be more beneficial for the viewer, and seeing that Masters queue or seeing the queue that you're more likely to see yourself. But I was really kind of hoping we would get to see more Samira and more Karma Set, given that this deck I think has some real kind of interesting space there. And those decks didn't turn up. We didn't get to talk about them, but this is a deck that does work nicely against a lot of the decks that I personally like to play. If you're out here trying to play stuff like Udyr, and then you're playing against someone that's not going to interact, they're playing a bunch of Elusives, and then they have stuns to stop your Udyr attack. This is a deck that can be, very favorable in those situations. And so it's an interesting spot of the meta, an interesting slice of the meta that this deck can actually carve out and be exceptionally good against. And I think it probably deserves a little more merit than it's given credit for. I personally think the problem with this deck in its current state and where it stands is it needs like one more cheap unit. And I don't feel like there's a cheap elusive that just exists within these factions, right? You could move away from playing Bard. You could go into Bandle City and then maybe replace Bard with Teemo. You can still play Bird and then pick up one of the like Bandle Commandos or something. That might be a more appealing way to take this, but I feel like that was the major kind of struggle with this deck. Is it seems very easy to get these draws to where you just don't have enough to do fast enough, and then you just fall behind because you don't have the greatest recovery tools in the world. But nonetheless, good set of games, good set of battles. I felt those games went pretty well. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope we maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.